That would be me.
Look who we're hanging with.
Jason David Frank.
Boom shakalaka.
Please do not change channel.
Hello, World Wide Web. Welcome back to the Hangin' With Web Show. I'm GW Pomichter.
I'm Christian Basel, and we have our guest today, one of my favorite body parts.
We're not going to tell you yet. Oh. Aha! We're going to make you wait. All right, we are at Tampa Bay Comic-Con all weekend long, and we're here right now. We're hanging with artist Athena Finger. Athena, thank you so much for hanging with us again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We got a chance to chat on the radio show.
Oh, that was so fun.
It was. We had a good time.
Oh,
you guys
yeah.
missed it. Go back.
No, you
always
didn't.
go back.
back.
You always go back.
Or maybe
It's
we
on
caught it.
demand. That's the
Maybe
beautiful
we
thing. The
caught it.
Hangin' With Web Show is always on demand.
Always.
In demand. I demand. I don't know.
This is going to be a long interview. Sorry to stop
demanding,
that.
okay?
Okay, I won't be so demanding. Athena, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Pretty good. How's the con going so far?
So
Just
far, it's
getting
great.
kicked off here?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah?
yesterday was nice. A good flow for the first day, and I actually got to go over and say hello to Val and give him a piece of artworok. So that was nice.
Awesome.
Super nice guy. So nice.
You know, we were talking on the radio. We were talking about him being. He's one of the most underrated Batman.
Oh, I know. I
It's
loved
kinda
his
like-
movie.
I thought it was good. Like I said, I think nostalgia. You know, people were thinking. They were thinking back to the '60s, and then they got Michael Keaton, and you,
Right.
you hit a home run right out of the ball. Right, first time out,
I
you hit a
know.
home run with this super actor, and then any change will now be a bad thing.
Well,
Even if it's a good
you have an
change.
expectation now.
You have an expectation now, and it
So
was
you got to move the bar, and
It-
where do you move the bar out?
Yeah,
of money?
yeah,
and
but
so I thought
unfortunately
it
it
was-
went.
Yeah, and I mean, so it was just one of those things where you're like, wow, it was timing. You did a good job, you do a great work, and then all of a sudden, but your timing is just not there.
Right. Well,
People
the
are
thing that I
expecting
liked
something
about
else.
his movie is how psychological it was.
Yes.
For Bruce Wayne. We didn't
Yes.
really get to see very much of that side of the character.
No, yeah, and I thought that was a really good thing, and of course, I loved the idea of just not knowing where we were going, throwing a lot of villains in and a lot of our heroes in, and saying, hey, this is a bigger universe than just this guy.
Right.
And I thought that was a really awesome thing. Now, what kind of art do you do, Athena?
Right
personally?
now, I'm mainly doing comic art because that's
Okay.
what the fans want to see,
Of course.
But I do fine art too. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I do oversized flowers.
How long have you been working as a professional artist?
Oh, I guess I
Forever.
am kind
She
of
was
a
kind of
professional
born
artist
into
now.
it, you know?
No, I
It's
actually
hereditary.
just got back into it about a year and a half ago.
Really?
Yes.
That's fantastic. And now you've been working the concert, and we're going to remind everybody who missed the radio show.
Oh, how dare they?
That's
they have
right.
to go back and listen to it.
Yeah, you do. Athena is also
So you can do both.
The granddaughter
Granddaughter,
of
yes.
Bill Finger,
Yeah.
Yes.
who is the co-creator of Batman, like the thing, Batman.
The thing
The,
that's on
the
my
whole
shirt.
thing. Well, not like one of the movies or one of the shows or a comic
the
book,
whole
like the whole
universe.
thing, the whole universe, Gotham City and the whole 9 yards. And so you were. Art is in your blood.
It is.
It is just a thing, and this community has been a part of your life probably as long as you can remember.
No.
No, really.
No, I didn't grow up in the comic world.
Wow.
My mom kind of kept me away from it, but I mean, also, I didn't gravitate towards comics growing up. I was too busy creating my own art.
there
So
was
I
no-
didn't really.
There was no bring your daughter to work day.
There's no, come on in.
Well, my mom
Or
was in the
granddaughter,
clothing
whatever.
business. She wasn't.
Yeah. So
She was an artist in a different way.
Yeah.
And my dad, I didn't grow up with my dad, but his medium was food. He was a culinary masterpiece.
There's nothing they can't do.
No, we do it all. My
That's
dad was also a
fantastic.
painter when he was younger.
Wow.
So It is in the genes.
It really
It is.
It's in the upbringing too, in the community that you're around. When you're around artistic people,
It's true. And my
you
mom
know.
really did nurture my artistic side because she saw, even from a small age, that I was really gravitating towards that
yeah.
area of life.
What's your favorite medium to work in?
Paint mainly.
Really?
I mean, I do a lot of painting with acrylic right now.
Okay.
So, I do photography also. That was my other passion growing
wow.
up. So, my grandfather on my mom's side was a photographer. So, I know all kinds of artist stuff going on there.
Now, tell us about your big art piece on wheels.
I was going to bring it too.
Second.
It's an old cover. It's a cover of Batman and Robin and the original Catwoman.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we actually we didn't auction it, we had a raffle
Okay.
raising money for Stoneham Douglas High School.
Awesome.
And so I actually announced the winner for that piece last week. So I'm just still
Fantastic.
showing it so people can enjoy it before it goes to its rightful owner.
That
Gotcha.
is great. We want to make sure we get the picture of that.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, in addition to your own art and making the circuit now, we talked last time about the revelation to those who are not diehards in the comic community of Bill's existence.
Right.
After
I
a very
actually got
long time.
messages last night from people who were like, "Oh my God, I had no idea, and I just watched the documentary."
That's fantastic.
and I'm like,
How
"Oh, thanks."
has that been? That documentary's been out there now, and people are watching, and every day, Bill's getting a little more of the recognition that
Oh,
he didn't
yes.
get.
Yes.
What's that been like for the family and for you as an artist, making,
Oh.
especially on this circuit, and
It's been amazing.
getting to meet people who are being introduced to the Finger family for the first time? through the
fans
documentary.
are awesome. The
Yeah.
fans really are awesome. They are learning about Bill's story more every day. Even people who knew Bill didn't even really know the full extent of
His
his
involvement.
influence in the comic industry
Yeah.
in general, not just with Batman. So it's been really awesome. I've been learning from people have been learning from me.
Well,
so
arguably, Bill did something that was a part of a movement that did something, dating right back to Superman, with
Right.
the first superhero. Each time a superhero has come out in those days, an archetype was reshaped and remolded for this century.
right.
Superman was the messianic hero archetype, reshaped for the 20th century, now the 21st.
Right.
Batman was the flawed anti-hero detective,
True.
and it was reimagined for a new era. That had been, Sherlock Holmes
Right.
before, and then
Yes.
before that, but shaping this anti-hero. Before the 70s movies invited the anti-hero into every movie ever made now,
Right.
from 1972 on.
Oh, I didn't know it was that specific.
I mean, it really is. The 70s brought the anti-hero to the pop culture,
Okay.
the subculture. But Batman did it in comic culture. The unwitting, the unwilling, I'm a hero because I kind of have to be. I'm broken
right.
a little bit.
I've been forced
And-
into this role type of
and
situation.
it really did. I mean, he really changed the way stories were told.
Well, that was his passion. He
Mm-hmm.
really wanted to tell stories, and he wanted to tell good stories.
Now, you do a lot of fan art, but you also do a lot of work in acrylics now, and you're doing a lot of other fine art pieces.
Yes.
What are the stories that you're passionate about telling in your art?
In my art,
Yeah. When you're painting, when you sit down and you just have, do you like to just do portraits or?
well,
or
I mean,
are
I've done
you-
a
what
little bit
kind
of everything.
Because a painter's a storyteller too. When you put
It
your,
is,
when you
but
put
you
your,
know what? I'm
brush to
kind of an
canvas.
odd person in
Uh-huh.
general. I'm not one to really ponder what I'm going to do. I'll just be doing something, folding my laundry, something completely normal. I get a flash of an image, and I'm like, I got to do that.
Got to do it.
And that's pretty much the way
You know what?
have.
We had the benefit. We interviewed an artist from Europe while he was here on tour.
Okay.
Frans van Eaton, and the entire time we did the interview, his brush was moving. He never wasn't looking at the canvas.
Oh,
His brush was,
wow.
and he would just go, and as he told the story on camera, you watched the art appear.
That's amazing.
It started out as I really did think I was watching a fifth grader make a, in
right,
art
just
class.
a doodle.
And by the end of a 20-minute, visit with him, there were flowers and butterflies and things were floating around, and I was like, I don't even know where that came from.
Wow.
Because you would like glance at the canvas and then talk, and then and I was like, wow. So it's that innate thing. You see it in your mind.
I see it in my mind, and then I try to get as close to what the image in my mind is on the canvas. I mean, it's not always exact, and things get tweaked as I go through it, but I mean, that's pretty much the way I've always...
Now, you've been out making the circuit now for a while,
Yes.
and showing your art.
Showing the
What
art.
What are the fans saying? What do they think?
It's received really well. Again, a lot of comic art right now, and it's not just Batman. I've done Star Wars, and I
Awesome.
did a Deadpool piece, and
What's
Wolverine.
your favorite piece of art that you've made that you're like, this is the one I'm proud of the most?
Oh, wow. You know, it's tough for me to do that because there's certain things
really pick the
from
kids,
each.
your favorite
well,
kid.
the reason why I say that is because each piece is unique, first
Right.
of all, and there's some quality about each piece that I really am excited about.
Awesome.
So it's not that I have a favorite. There's the qualities about each one that I really like.
Okay. That's right.
I've been really, getting into my backgrounds. I know that sounds weird, but I mean, you never really think about what's going on in the background. So I've been trying to play around with different ways to make it really
Again,
interesting.
as a storyteller, like you said, the background plays a vital part in telling your visual story.
Yes.
But it's a very subconscious and subtle part of it that people often don't think of the thought that you have to put into it
Right.
to tell that part of the story. They just kind of scan it and they're like, oh, and now I know things.
Right.
But you're
they're
the one
not,
that has to
they
put
don't
it there.
know exactly what the backstory is for the process
Right.
of making it look as beautiful as it does.
That is
So-
fantastic.
But
Okay.
I have a lot of fun with it. So I get surprised with the way things turn out also. Like you go into something seeing something and hoping that you achieve what you're seeing, but then surprised by the actual outcome.
That happens to me all the time because I go into, if I were going to draw a picture, I would go in with like a Botticelli in my mind, but it comes out, it looks a lot like a stick figure. I don't know
You at
why.
least get stick figures out. I can't even translate mine.
I'm just saying, I don't know
I
how
think I
that
offend people
happens.
in Japanese
There's-
when I draw
translation,
pictures.
see, she's right. Things happen, like
So-
my hands getting involved. So, you've had a great journey and you've been a part of your family's journey. What's been that aha coolest moment now so far of being an artist where you just said, wow,
wow.
this is why I love this. This is the moment. Do you have one of those,
Wow.
revelationary moments?
I'm trying to think
A
of which
fan
one.
or
There's so many
somebody?
that there's like this, and this.
Yeah, see? We're like Barbara Walters here. We're
I
going
know.
deep.
And
The
that's something you
first
had for last
time I
night
met
for dinner.
Michael Uslan
Uh-huh.
at the Dark Knight premiere, that was pretty spectacular because I had only met one other person who knew my grandfather at that point, who was Paul Lovitz. And I'm at this first time ever premiere pre-dinner, and I'm like in awe of everything. And Michael comes up to me and he's like, I have to tell you my Bill Finger story. And he told me how he met my grandfather, and it was an awesome moment for a 13-year-old, and
Oh,
it was
yeah.
awesome for me to hear that there were people who actually got to interact with him. Because I never met my grandfather. He passed away before my parents got together.
That is the remarkable thing, and we found that working in this community. Once they have something in that piece of knowledge or a person or a meeting or a story,
Right.
it never goes away. They never let it go, and they pass it on. So as
It's
a 13-year-old, you now got to, this community comes at you and says, here are my Bill Finger stories. And
Right.
someday they're going to be talking about the time, here's my Athena Finger story. And every generation is going to have that. walking
all the
through
other
Comic-Con.
Finger stories.
Isn't that great? And
I
we're a part
guess.
of that because
I'm
we're going to
still
say
trying to
this.
deal with all of
See, this
that.
is our Athena Finger story. We've got that. All right. Okay, folks, we have to wrap it up. She's got a little card back there that is incredibly rude and tells us to shut up. I don't
Just
know.
you, not me.
She is
She aims it at me,
demanding.
though. She aims it right at me.
I know,
don't
that's-
I don't know what it is. All
And
right,
it's
fine.
shaking.
She's shaking it and everything. All right, fine.
Venus.
We're going to say thank you to our partners and friends at Some Unique Magazine, Space Coast Comics, Famous Faces and Funnies, Off the Chain Radio with author Yvonne Mason, our great friends over in Melbourne, Florida at Pound the Grape, and right over in Orlando, Florida, we've got our new friends at Embellish
Embellish
Effects.
Effects.
And
Nice.
we want to thank those guys for supporting the show. They make it happen. Well,
You make it happen.
You make it happen,
Watching
really.
us.
Athena made it happen. She came and sat down and hang out with us for a little while. Guys, remember, log on, tune in, and see who we're hanging with next.
Wow.